Hello, everybody. Today I wanted to film a video that, based on the title, you might think is clickbaity, but it's not. I'm going to be legit. I'm going to talk a little bit about all of the money that I spent on K-pop stuff last year. I saw a couple of videos in this sort of style going around BookTube. So it's the YouTube community, right, that focuses on books and things like that. And I thought it was really interesting, and I thought it was really valuable as a discussion piece for the community, but more importantly, mostly just for myself, I thought it was really interesting. So I went and tallied all that stuff up, and I went through and pulled it all together. So we're gonna talk a little bit about that. And like I said, there will be real numbers. A couple of caveats, disclaimers, notes, whatever, before I kind of get started with the details. One, I am a working adult who is spending my own money how I'd like. And this is money that I spend after covering bills and other important essential things. So, like, this is my money and I'm going to spend it how I want to. And I don't really want to hear anything about that in the comments. I'm not doing this so that people go attack or pester or comment on other people's videos about their own spending. I did this because it's interesting to me and I thought it'd be interesting to you and maybe spark a conversation in the community about K-pop spending. So don't think that I'm sitting here trying to judge people for what they've spent and what they do with their own money. Like, I'm not. It's really not at all about any of that. It's really just about, again, my own spending, and I thought it would be an interesting conversation to be having. So I'm not trying to call anyone out. I'm not trying to do anything like that. So don't do that is the summary. And 2020 is a year where I have spent less for sure, in part because of how I was purchasing albums generally and K-pop stuff last year. So there's a couple of things to note with that, which is one, I wish listed stuff. So a lot of albums I would put on a wish list and I would wait a while before I buy it. I only bought albums like 2 or 3 times last year versus like every month or something like that. So there definitely were a lot of albums that were on my wish list that I ultimately didn't choose to purchase. So I definitely know that reduced my spending. I was focusing a lot more on photo cards last year than I was on albums, which I think is generally a trend with my K-pop collection anyway. And my favorite groups are basically not that active. So generally there was just less out in the sphere for me to be, purchasing or whatever. I don't purchase a lot of groups. Most of the groups I purchase, like I said, are inactive second gen groups. The other thing I think it's worth noting, especially when we talk about the numbers, is twofold. One, I downsized my collection a lot last year. So when we get to how much I sold and things like that, that number is going to definitely be a lot larger than it would be in a normal year. And so that's going to get reflected in when we kind of get to my net of everything. So what did I spend? Let's just start with the big number. This should include shipping if I did all of the math correctly. So this comes from using proxy services. This comes from buying on normal, like K-Town for You. This comes from buying stuff on Instagram. This comes from buying stuff on USA Macari. This comes from anywhere I spent money buying stuff from friends. Anywhere I spent money, I have recorded it here in this spreadsheet my friend Sanastoria _ K-pop made, and I will, if I remember, find her video and link to it and where the spreadsheet is, and so you could do it yourself if you want to for 2021 or go back for 2020. And anyway, so in grand total for the year of 2020, I spent $468.01. I don't know where that 1 cent came from in K-pop. That is what I did. That's how much money I spent last year. Almost $500, which I will say in my own personal financial situation is not a big financial deal. But we'll get to my thoughts more on that towards the end of the video. So let's talk a little bit about month to month what I was spending. So the first 2 months of the year, January and February, I didn't buy anything. In March, I bought 3 Sehun photo cards. I think it's these. I could not remember for the life of me what they were, and these were $44.55, and I think I bought these on Instagram or something. So that was my first purchase of the year. It was in March. I bought those 3 photo cards. I didn't buy anything in April. In May, I bought 1 photo card on USA Macari, and that was this Yuna photo card. This was in May. This was $8.74. I was excited about getting that. It's from her solo album. June, again, I didn't spend any money. July was a big month where I actually bought quite a lot of things. I spent $108.50 in June. And what did I actually buy? So I got another Sehun tag. This is from XOSC's first release. So I bought that. I bought a bundle. I believe these are all of the cards of a bunch of SNSD cards that I needed from a seller on Macari. I think if you go USA Macari, I think if you go back on my channel, you can find the video where I got these. I think these were all of them. Which is to say, I think these all came from the same place. I don't think that they came from multiple sellers or anything like that. Ooh, let's scoot that up a little bit. Okay. So I bought that. And then I also bought Luna's Hash album because that came out. Luna's a group, obviously, that I collect. I think I bought this from one of my friends. I did not purchase this from like a K-Town for you because normally I put all of that stuff together. So that was July. In August, I spent $81, and that was on 3 things. So first off, I bought Taeyeon's concert, The Unseen. This is a Kino. I bought this right when it came out. One of my friends was buying some stuff from K-Town for you or whatever, and so I bundled it with her. And then also from that same friend, my friend Emily. From that same friend, I also bought 2PM's Number 5 and Gentleman's Game by 2PM, their 5th and 6th albums. This is the Taiwan press edition, mostly because I really like both of these albums. I wanted them in my collection, but the packaging for both of these is massive and I don't like it. And my friend Emily had the Taiwan press and didn't really need it anymore, and so she sold them to me so that I could have copies of the album without actually having them like massive packaging that usually comes with. So that was August. In September, we were back on photo card train. Again, this is from USA Macari. I believe this was the same thing that I purchased from the same seller last time. So more SNSD cards. That was a big focus of my purchasing last year. Was on trying to just like really finally finish my SNSD photo card collection because why not? And I didn't do it, but I got close. Didn't get that close actually. In October, I think was the one month that I actually ordered from K-Town for you. I spent $157.33, and that was buying quite a few things. So first I actually ordered from K-Town for you 3 albums. I got XOSC's 1 Billion Views because that had just come out, so I purchased that. I bought Luna's newest release, 12. I only buy 1 copy of Luna albums, so I had that. And then I also bought Taeyeon's repackage of her second full-length album, Purpose. This had come out a really long time ago, and that's when I purchased it, was many, many months later, just to give you an idea of like how my spending and stuff was working. I also bought a bunch of stuff on a proxy site through one of my friends, so I bought more SNSD cards through this proxy site. Go here, hang out on Taeyeon's face. And I also got the Girls' Generation mini light stick because I want to put this at some point when I eventually get to go back to my desk at my job. So I bought that. And then I also bought a couple of things on Macari from Luna. So they had the Luna Island stuff, which I didn't want to buy, obviously, the whole package, but I thought these things were cute. And so I bought them for my photo card collection. Put those down here. So that was where like the bulk of my spending was. In November, I bought 1 photo card, it looks like. I think I bought this photo card in November from my friend. It was like $7.65. So just working on my Hyunjin collection. And then in December, I bought a couple of other cards. I bought these 3 other cards from the Midnight album. This is from the versions I didn't buy, but I wanted 1 copy of each. And so yeah, that was $22, including tracked shipping. So that was it. That was everything that I bought last year. All of it. And like I said, all of this added up to $468.01. And then the last thing I want to talk about is, like I had mentioned, I actually, it's good to look at your spending. It's also good to look at what goes out and compare that. So last year I sold, using my Macari store predominantly, but also probably like just on Instagram and stuff like that. I sold about $1,300. I sold $1,348 worth of stuff. This is albums, this is photo cards, this is all those kinds of things. Like I mentioned at the top of the video, that is pretty atypical for me. I downsized a ton of my collection last year, which again, I don't normally do. And so that definitely impacted the amount of money that I spent, that I made, which normally in a normal year, I would not be making that much money selling K-pop items. So if you take how much I sold and how much I spent, my net earnings with K-pop, I guess this year, I actually came out really positive. I made $879.99. Again, that last year was kind of a weird year for that because I was getting rid of a lot of stuff, more so than I normally would. Normally, I think that would have been more of a like negative number where I sold a couple of things maybe or didn't sell anything and actually spent a bunch of money. So what does that make me think about? Makes me think about a couple of things. When I looked at that number, when I did all of the math, went through everything and saw the number of, almost $500, I was really unhappy with that number. I'll be honest, especially when you look at what is is here and present, and it's, there's a lot of stuff that's great. I'm not even trying to say, photo cards and albums, like, they definitely bring me joy and I definitely enjoy them, but it's not quite the same as when I started collecting K-pop back in 2011. It's not the same level of enjoyment that I used to get. A lot of things kind of felt like, oh, I should get this because I need to finish this collection, or I want to, like, have this album because I need to continue, like, my Taeyeon collection or whatever. Obviously this album's great, but, like, it made me think a little bit about that. The biggest thing I took away from this is, so I bought this DVD, keynote, whatever. Regardless, doesn't matter. It happens to be a keynote, but even if it was a DVD, I bought that. I don't know. What did I say? I bought that like really early in the year. That was released, and I haven't watched it still. Like, to this day, I haven't watched it yet. Even though the track list is bumping, I think I would enjoy the concert. I still haven't, like, watched it. And that's not a reflection because it's a keynote. It's because it's just, I don't really watch concerts. So it's making me think a lot about my collection, what's in my collection, what I want to keep collecting. Taeyeon recently had a Japanese album that came out that I'm probably not going to buy just because they're so expensive and I don't need it. I don't need her Japanese, like, physical albums, So anyway, that was, like, the exercise that I took away from this. Was really, it made me think a lot about what I'm spending my money on, and, like, is it the stuff I actually want to spend my money on? Is it the stuff I want to be collecting? Is it the stuff I really want to be having in my life? And so there's definitely gonna be a little bit more downsizing going on this year. We'll see how successful I am in selling it. Hopefully I have a nice successful year in selling again, but yeah, it was interesting. So hopefully that is interesting to you a little bit, just to hear some real numbers about what spending can look like in K-pop. And hopefully it makes you think a little bit about your own spending and look at it a little bit, and maybe you're totally happy with it and you're totally fine and it's not a big deal. This isn't me trying to say, like, look at your spending and change it. Like, that's not what I'm trying to do here. I just think it's worthwhile to look at it and pay attention, because it can, it's very easy to get caught up in the cycle of, like, well, this came out and I need to go buy it. This came out, I need to go buy it. It's a new release, I need to go have it for my collection. And losing a little bit of the objectivity of, like, what is making you happy and what's not. But yeah, this was my 2020, everything I got in 2020 / how much I spent on all of it video. I hope it was interesting. I hope you guys are doing really well. I probably will have another video at some point soon with something going on. Because despite saying all of what I just said, I'm still going to buy albums, still going to buy some photo cards, just probably at a significantly reduced rate that I was. But yeah, I hope you guys are doing well. I hope your 2021 is starting well, and have a good day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.